Hey, everybody. Welcome to EduMatch. Thanks so much for tuning in. So follow along with us at podcasts with an s.edumatch.org/. Tweet Talk. You can also use our hashtag EduMatch on Twitter. So speaking of EduMatch, did you know that you could be the featured person of the day? Check out our website, look for the sign up button and sign up, and we will get you all linked into our not into our LinkedIn, but into our EduMatch network. So super excited. So tonight, I'm also super excited because we are featuring one of my favorite people, Dr. Will Deyamport. So welcome, Dr. Will.
Thank you, Sarah, for bringing me on the show.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. So I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about Dr. Will, if you haven't already gotten the pleasure to know him. So I'm going to read you his bio. So Dr. Will is a recognized digital leader who has tapped into the power of mobile learning and developing engaging lessons that support this Netflix generation of learners. Leveraging learning outside the confines of the classroom, Dr. Will is a proven speaker and presenter with experience in training and collaboration with peers, teachers, and other staff members. He's focused on using technology to provide students with greater agency over their learning. Dr. Will's mission is to remove technology as an impediment from teachers becoming innovators in their classroom. Currently, he facilitates the one-on-one Chromebook initiative for Hattiesburg High School and Thames Elementary. Dr. Will works with over 500 teachers district-wide on how to purposefully implement technology to reimagine the learning experiences of their students. He created the system for tracking and managing the repair of damaged Chromebooks and also delivers professional development to teachers via online courses and serves as an LMS administrator for Schoology and district administrator for Classworks, OdysseyWare, Study Island, Reading Eggs, Nearpod, and School Status. So that is awesome, Dr. Will. So thank you so much for being here. Definitely excited to pick your brain tonight. So, you ready?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, cool. So, the very first question that I have for you is who or what inspired you to go into education?
This wow. Okay, this is an interesting story here. I went to film school. I had no idea, no dreams, no interests, no inclinations to become an educator or to go in education. Upon graduating from film school, I had this idea of I used to have dreams of winning the best Oscar, right, for director and picture and all those things, because I love movies. I graduated, I go home, and I'm thinking I need a job that will allow me the flexibility to be able to write. You hear these stories about people in Hollywood working at bars and all those things. I didn't want to do that, so I ended up becoming a substitute teacher. And through that, I never got around to writing that script. But through that, I was able to form a relationship with a Spanish teacher there. And she asked me to work with some of her students to prepare for a language fair. So I worked with them. I taught them how to salsa and came up with the routine. And we went to the language fair, and they did their thing. And I was kind of pumped, like, wow, I'm seeing how these experiences with these students that they would normally have sort of had a difference in how they saw themselves. And then I got a letter from the mail from our careers department, and they talked about these opportunities. And then I got a job actually working in a college career mentoring program. And so that's how I got into education.
Wow. So we have a lot of similarities in our journeys, and we've talked about this before about going to being like in the school of C, school of communications, and coming to education. So definitely. All right. So we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about your journey in connecting with other educators because you are super duper connected. So, what kind of tips and tricks have you learned along the way in your own journey to connecting with other educators?
Know your why and know your what. Know your why of why are you on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, and know your what in terms of what do you want to get out of the experience. Some people get on there, and what's difficult for a lot of people when they first get on, let's say Twitter, the feed is just flying through them. And if they don't use hashtags and they don't tweet someone directly, what's happening is their stuff is just kind of flying out there and no one knows they exist and no one's answering them, right? So they're just like, these people are not connecting with me. It's so difficult, so hard because they are not sort of following the norms of use a hashtag so people can actually follow that conversation. And then you have again, know your what. Now I know some people may not talk about the what, but the what for me is I've been in this Twitter game, so to speak, long enough to where I want more than just learning from peers. I want next level connections for next level money. And so in knowing your what do you want to get out of it in terms of that's when you start making your plan. So I make sure that when I make connections with people, I'm strategic with the people that I follow, with how I interact with people, with what I share, and I have an end game in mind and not sort of just on there just to be on there.
I hear you. So definitely knowing your what and your why. So wanted to give a huge shout out to Peggy George and to Natalie McCallop who are interacting with us on the YouTube live chat. And Peggy was saying great advice. Know your what and your why. Don't just connect because someone asked you to connect. So absolutely, absolutely. All right, cool, cool. So you are definitely a lifelong learner. So what has fueled this passion for lifelong learning for you? Uh-oh, I think we lost sound for you.
You still hear me?
Yep, now we're good.
Okay. It's an addiction. I just love it. So I'll watch TLC. I'll watch the Food Network, HGTV. I'm just all the ways just trying to watch something to learn. It fuels me. It excites me. I never get bored with it. And the great thing about being on Twitter or LinkedIn, your PLN is only limited by your imagination. So I don't follow just educators. I follow people who write, who teach, who build, who lead businesses, lead organizations outside of education because they have valuable things that I take and synthesize and use it in my work or use it in my self development. I'm just always fueled also to get better at being myself because one of the things that people have to be weary of in being connected is seeing people that they admire and fall victim of trying to be like that person or feeling like they're not their worth is lower than what it is because they're not doing what that other person is. So they're comparing their today to someone's tomorrow. And so I always, am looking at it as how can I just, get better and then be genuine. We all hear about being your authentic self, but for me, and I will say that, but know who you are and just put in the work to get better at being yourself and not trying to follow someone else's path or chart your own.
Yes, that resonates so much with me. I love that what you said about don't compare your today to someone else's tomorrow. That is yes, that is on point right there. So, all right, cool, cool. So we're gonna go back to the whole being authentic to yourself in just a second, but just wanted to talk about your podcast. So I've been a fan. I've been listening to the podcast. I think ever since I met you, you've been doing this podcast. So what is it now, like 4 years or something?
Oh yeah, fourth season.
Oh, fourth season. So that is awesome. And it's just amazing. I listen to it all the time and you're sharing content frequently with your audience. You're pumping out all of these great podcasts. I think one time, what was it, a couple days ago, you said you had like 12 or something that you had
It's
just recorded?
scheduled for the month. Yes.
12 scheduled for the month. My goodness. All right. So tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Well, the Dr. Will show literally was born out of a conversation that I had with Eric Schenniger. If y'all on Twitter, you may know who he is, and you know he's always been sort of like my Yoda. And we were at ISTE one year, and he was like, "All right, Will, come on, come on." And he was breaking down the art of the next level to me. And I remember sort of going and I said, all right, Eric, how do I get there? And he said, you need to create content. And for him, he was talking about blogging. But for me, I knew that there was no way in the world that I was going to pump out a blog post every week. Like Eric is a machine. I can't do that every week. So I knew I had dabbled in podcasting with my previous job where I was the chief social strategist. So I felt like I could do this. This is something I could do on a consistent basis. And once I started doing it, I'm like, I'm loving this because I'm taking some of these conversations that you have on Twitter, but now I'm going farther and deeper into those conversations, and I'm spreading out my network, developing great contacts for me that I can go, okay, this can take me to the next level. And then selfishly, I just love to learn. So I'm getting geeked out. Like I have shows now that even now I've told myself I'm going to put my content on a release date of okay, once a week, I'm going to do this show. But I had a show Saturday that I was like, oh, this is so good. I released it Saturday. I couldn't wait. And so for me, I get geeked about it. And this season will be different because hopefully I can hold on to this. But I do not plan to do any episodes that deal with anything in the K through 12 classroom. All of my shows are going to be about social. How can educators use social for learning, for networking, for communicating? How does the social space change how you communicate, as well as entrepreneurship? Because and someone had they say I take it too far, but I'm all about the entrepreneur and about people out here getting that money and not giving away all of their pretty for the free.
I hear you, Dr. Will. I hear you. Okay, so that kind of takes us to the next question. So you always close out your show by saying invest in you, EDU. So what exactly does that mean?
I want people, as I referred earlier, to getting better at being yourself. Nothing is going to happen in your life if you don't make the investment. You're not going to lose weight. You're not going to become a better teacher. You're not going to learn anything. You're not going to have a better relationship. You're not going to do anything unless you make the investment. And so for me, that was key for me to make that mental shift of if I want to get to the next level in my life, regardless of where I say that is, whether it's career or personal or financial or whatever, I have to make the investment. And I wanted to end my show with something as sort of a call to action for people to say invest in you, EDU. And the EDU comes from use education to get the information that you will use to invest in yourself. And so I just wanted to make that be sort of a reminder to myself first, but hopefully to other people that they actually take up the call.
I love that. I really do. And it's so important to invest in ourselves and and definitely continue to grow and to learn. So wonderful. Okay. So speaking of learning, then you did your dissertation on how educators use Twitter for professional growth. So what were the major findings of that? And also, what trends are you seeing as the years go on? Are you seeing like any change from what you initially saw?
Well, the trends are some people get it. Well, I guess for my study first is some people get it, some people don't. So there were people in my study that they love Twitter. And then there were people who were like, I can see it's valuable, but it's not for me. So one of the people in my study said that she got her information from Pinterest. And Pinterest is different because there's no engagement. You just go click on the picture, then you get the information. And for her, particularly her greatest strength as a teacher was arts and crafts. And so Pinterest worked very well for her. And I was happy for her, even though I mean, it was still data for my study either way, if they embraced it or not. But I was happy for her own professional learning because she realized that, Pinterest was her jam, and that helped her become a better educator. I think the trends of it is some of us get it and we love it, but too many of us don't, which is interesting because as much as I love Twitter and we love Twitter and we're out there talking about it and we evangelize it, there are just far too many educators at our schools and at conferences that you attend where they're not connected. The conference itself may not be connected. I was going to join this organization. It was an adult learning professional organization. And I didn't join it because once I went to Twitter and I saw that they only tweeted during the days of their conference, I was like, I'm not joining this organization because this is a once a year learning opportunity with them. Um, so that's it. And I'm going to try really hard to get people on there. But I think, people, they just look at social media, and then with all the things that are going on, you have to safeguard your peace. And there's a lot of great things going on. There's a lot of things that are not great that are going on. And to get people to sort of think outside of, oh, I can use social media for learning, that's different. Some people are like, you know, how things go viral. Like last year, people went crazy over this gorilla in a swimming pool, kind of just going around, around, around. And people think, they think, oh, social media, oh, they think that, they think Beyonce, they think other stuff, and they don't normally sort of gravitate to the learning piece of it. So for me, that is the trend of we got to get more people on it and show them, just how powerful it is a learning experience.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I love that you said that because a lot of people do have like that misconception. They'll think that it's just like a way to show off what you're having for lunch or, taking a picture of your food and stuff like that. And they don't see the power behind it. So I agree with you 100% about getting people to see the power behind it. So absolutely. All right. So what can we expect to see from you in 2018?
Wow. Okay. Well, hopefully the podcast will grow and people will be receptive to the new change. The wife and I plan to be rolling out online courses via our company. We have been approved by William Carey University to offer CEUs. Yeah.
Yay!
For our courses. And hopefully you'll see a slimmer me. I got carried away during the Christmas break with dressing and cookies and ice cream, and I reverted. So I got to get back on track. I have to unleash my inner Dark Gable and get myself together.
I feel you. I think that's all of us right now. Yeah, that is awesome, Dr. Will. So I can't wait to hear about all of the great stuff that you are going to be doing to slay in the game in 2018. So very excited to hear about that. So for anyone who is not in touch with you already, then tell us how people can get in touch with you online.
On Twitter, the name is I am Dr. Will. LinkedIn, you can just search my name. That's the cool thing about having the last name I have. My pops is 72. He's not on social media. So if you search it, you're going to only get me. Just search Will Deyamport and you'll be able to catch me up. If I may add something about people on Twitter,
Absolutely.
don't be afraid to unfollow people. Don't be afraid to unfollow people. And I know this might not be the best etiquette, but I'm going to tell you this. When people no longer serve your purpose, whether it's from learning your craft or feeding you emotionally, when someone no longer serves your purpose, walk away. And don't get taken back when your relationship with someone changes, because Twitter has an ebb and flow to it. So sometimes you may be 1 week or 1 month strong. You and this person, you just interacting, you're changing, you're vibing, you're learning, and all of a sudden 2 weeks go by, you hadn't heard from that person. Don't take that personally. You're there to do you and learn. So if you need to move on to someone else, you do that. But just like I said, make the investment. And again, do not be afraid to walk away from people who no longer serve your purpose.
I hear you, Dr. Will. I hear you. you know, I have my philosophy. I tend to follow back everyone who is an educator, but there have been some situations where I have had to walk away. Like you said, when a person was no longer serving my purpose, like it might have become slightly toxic or something that's just not like it's just not feeling right. So I definitely can see what you're saying with that. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, cool, cool. Is there anything else that you wanted to share that I didn't ask you?
No, that's it. I mean, I'm enjoying myself. Being connected has been a wonderful experience and so powerful and life changing. I'm in Mississippi and you're not. And we have been able to connect here and see each other offline at conferences, and just the powerful connections that people are able to make across the United States and overseas. I mean, this is next level, unbelievable type of stuff. When I was a kid, TV cut off, like literally 2 o'clock after Johnny Carson or whatever, TV cut off and there was bars and tones. And now it's, I'm up here having video uh, live conversations with people from everywhere. So it's just unbelievable time.
Absolutely. I totally feel you on that. It's great like how times have changed and we're able to do this. So it's great cuz we talk like almost every day or in some way shape or form either in a Voxer group or what have you. So yeah, definitely. And we're like I don't know how many thousands of miles apart. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But definitely wanted to thank you, Dr. Will, for taking the time to chat with us tonight. So thank you also to everybody who is watching. Wanted to give a shout out to everyone who is interacting with us. So I already gave a shout out to Natalie and to Peggy. Also, shout out to Nina. So I see you on YouTube Live. Thank you, Nina, for joining us as well. So we are going to be back on Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to be chatting with Janae Irwin. So definitely check that out. As well as 6 p.m. we're going to be doing a tweet and talk about voice and choice in PD. So anyone can sign up to be a panelist. You can check that out at podcasts with an s.edumatch.org/sign up. And to watch, it's the same bad channel, podcasts.edumatch.org/tweet talk. So everybody have a great week. Definitely we'll see you next time. All right. Bye, guys.